as we look at how the way we've been delivering healthcare has not worked because it's treating the body just as the body. We see now with all this recognition that we are more than the physical body and that our mind and our emotions and our spirit have an impact on our health and well-being. And that scientific data is beginning to change the way we look at healthcare provision. I mean, right now in the States, 75% of our healthcare costs are because of preventable chronic diseases, many of which have to do with stress. You know, stress and burnout have been described as the disease of civilization.
I must tell you this. The first time I landed in United States, wherever I went, people were talking about stress management. I couldn't understand this. Because in my understanding, we manage things which are precious to us, our family, our property, our business. Why would anybody want to manage stress? It took me some time to understand that a whole lot of people have concluded that stress is a part of their life. Stress is not a part of your life or work or anything. Stress is just your inability to manage your own body, your mind, your emotions and your life energies. You do not know how to keep your body, mind and emotions, you will be stressed. Stress means the inner dimensions of who you are is under friction. There is sufficient friction in the world. Every day if we have to walk through this world, there's a whole lot of challenges and friction. That is there. But once the friction happens within this machine, within this mechanism, if there is friction, then you become completely debilitating. It becomes completely debilitating, which is something most human beings are experiencing today. It's like you're trying to run your car without the oil in it. In 10 minutes, everything is stressful, everything makes ugly noises within. Right now, people are going through this and it's causing a whole lot of psychosomatic diseases that people are suffering. I would say 70% of the ailments that human beings are suffering are self-created. About 30% happen to you from outside because of other organisms and infections and various other things. Maybe some of them are, like by birth people have certain tendencies, but at least 70% is self-created, which can be easily reversed if only we attend to the individual human being. And I can prove this with hundreds and thousands of cases who have walked out of ailments, not treated, walked out of it, simply because a certain level of stress-free existence came. Right now, I've had my lunch and I'm speaking. If I check my pulse, it's somewhere between 55 to 60. If I was on empty stomach and if I sit here quietly for 5 minutes, this will settle below 40. So there is no question of stress in this one. So when there is no stress, how much maintenance it needs will considerably go down. Right now, we have studies to show you this. A simple 15-minute meditative process, your metabolism drops up to 24% in a conscious state. There is sufficient studies to show that human mechanism can be brought to a more easy way of functioning. It is not in a hyper state of functioning. Right now, anything they have to do, they have to pump themselves like this and do it. No, you can propel yourself very gently. You can propel yourself, when I say gently, not necessarily behind somebody, not necessarily at a lower level of performance. Human mechanism can be made to function at different levels. If you're in a certain state of tranquility within yourself, right now I'm made like this, if I close my eyes, world just vanishes for me, it doesn't even exist for me. So, how you keep the system is important. Now we're talking about this being a World Peace Day. If peace has to happen, a human being should know it within himself. Whatever we are seeing as human societies is just a manifestation of what's happening in individual minds. When individual minds are in such a turmoil, how do you bring peace to the world? It's going to be just empty talk.
If you have a close look at your life, you'll find that behind all your problems, behind all your suffering is your mind. And by mind, I mean your ego, the little limited self which considers itself as the body-mind complex. And it is this little limited self which gives rise to all the stress that you experience in your life. Today in this talk, I'm going to give you a few insights which you can use to detect the ego in you, which in turn will help you in overcoming the stress that it creates for you. Remember, the only way to go beyond the ego is its recognition. The moment you recognize the egoic behavior in yourself, that very moment you go beyond it. Never ever think of fighting the ego. You are bound to fail if you think of fighting the ego. Ego is like the darkness which can only be dispelled by the light of your awareness. It can only be dispelled by the light of your consciousness. So allow me now to share with you the insights. When something goes wrong in your life, just witness and watch what happens in your inner world of thoughts and emotions. If you do so, you will meet an entity within yourself which is resisting what went wrong in your life. This is the ego in you. Remember, whatever resistance you experience within yourself happen because of the ego. Ego and resistance are synonymous. One cannot exist without the other. Next time when you find that things are not in your favor and when you find yourself among people who are totally against you, then just watch what happens within you and recognize the resistance. The moment you recognize the resistance within you, it loses its grip on you. A tremendous amount of energy is then released within you, which was trapped in this pattern. You will then experience subtle emanation of peace within yourself. This peace is not of this world. It is the peace of your real nature, beyond body and mind. When you find fault with yourself and with others, know for sure that it's the ego in you. Some people derive their sense of worth from their physical appearance. For these people, the height, the color, the fitness of the body, they will determine whether they are good or not. All spiritual seekers should keep this one thing in mind, that it's the ego which identifies with the body, which remains strongly attached to the body. So when you really become too concerned about your physical appearance, know that it's the ego in you which is doing it. Know that it is the fictitious mind-made self which is identifying with the body. And the only way to go beyond it is the recognition. The mere recognition of this pattern of an ego will put an end to this. With this recognition, you will get a glimpse of your divine infinite nature.